four, three.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. It's me, Reem, here. And today I have Elizabeth with us. And thank you guys so much for joining us for Empowering Holistically, where we want to come together and create a community where we are educating each other, empowering each other, and supporting each other in whatever we need to figure out or go through throughout the challenges of being a mom, being a woman, being a dad, being a father, and just being a part of this community. So this week thank you guys so much. We've gotten so many great messages and comments and people reaching out, really wanting to know more about what we can do and how we're trying to create empowering holistically. Because like I mentioned last week, we're still trying to know who Elizabeth is as Elizabeth, as a mom, as a wife, and kind of go from there. So with a lot of great questions that we had coming up, we decided this week we want to talk about self-empowerment and self-awareness. And we had some great questions. One question that really pops in mind was in regards to a mom that it's her second pregnancy, and she was going through a lot of different ailments and different contractions early on in her pregnancy. And in talking to her doctors, they had summed it up in being Braxton Hicks. And now for a first-time mom, or even second-time mom, knowing this, she was just like, okay, well, what do I need to do? And the route that the doctors took her on, she quickly found out during having a healthy baby girl, having a healthy delivery, natural delivery, that being aware of who you are as a woman, as a woman, we are completely different than men, and men are completely different than us, but we need to be aware of ourselves and start off by knowing why we need to be aware of ourselves. So I want to kind of segue into talking to Elizabeth, because she shared some really great stories that as she's going through a lot of her things in life, and I'll let her share a little bit about what I'm talking about, but how she's really become more self-aware of things intentionally so that she can fully experience what she's going through. And yeah, so let's segue into Elizabeth.
All right. So I really loved that message, and I love all the messages that you guys have been sending to us. We are not a one-size-fits-all model. We're not. We're all different and unique and individual. However, a lot of times in the medical profession, that's how things are. It's black and white. It's in a textbook, and that's what doctors are told. So what really resonated with me in this was that the woman who shared it was not sure what to do, and she went to her doctor, and now she's in her second pregnancy, and she's learning to embrace the feelings that she's going through as like, this is what my body is doing. And I think she shared that in the first pregnancy, she had injections to slow down and minimize the contractions. Yeah. And so what Reem and I were talking about is, Reem asked me, have you ever had Braxton Hicks? And I said, I don't know, right? I'm not sure if I have. I've had body sensations that sometimes feel different than what I'm used to. But, I really, Reem and I were talking too about instead of labeling some of these sensations that we feel in our bodies, just to notice, to be aware of what these feelings are. So it's very possible that I've had Braxton Hicks. I mean, my doctor has told me that I have. But for me, what I know is that sometimes I have these feelings that are different. And just learning to like, oh, that's interesting. That's an interesting feeling right there. And to embrace that feeling instead of to have fear around it, or, oh, that hurt, something's wrong. And I mean, if something's wrong, right? I mean, I'm not saying to ignore those signs, but learning a lot to just recognize and not analyze what's going on.
I like that. Recognize, not analyze. That's
Just notice it and what that's like for you. Because I mean, how can we really think that any two people are going to have exactly the same experience? And I can remember coming home. So tomorrow I'll be 38 weeks in my second pregnancy, and coming home and telling the doctor, coming home from a doctor's appointment and telling my husband that the doctor said I've been having contractions, right? And he was like, "That's ridiculous. Like, you haven't been having contractions, and why would she say that to you?" And then I said, "I don't know if I've been having contractions," but it was interesting to hear her say it. Instead of getting scared or excited or taking it as truth when she said it, I just was like, that's really interesting that that's her take on what I'm explaining. And I mean, I gave her a very short synopsis of what was going on.
Right.
And then she's, "Oh, those are contractions," right? So anyways, learning to just be more in touch with our bodies and what things feel like is going to help us to have optimal health. And so I was sharing with Reem that this week I went to see my acupuncturist, who is a dear friend of mine. And, she was asking me at one point if it was painful, if the treatment was painful. And I told her, I've really been embracing this recognizing and not analyzing phase, right?
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was painful. What I just noticed was that there was a body sensation, right? She would place a needle wherever she would place it, or she would give me a little massage, and then there would be like a physical reaction to that, right? And so instead of being like, "Oh, that hurt," it was like, "Oh, that's an interesting sensation. That's different," because I'm really, with the birth of my first child, I was very, very nervous, for being someone as strong and independent as I am. And really, I mean, I consider myself to be pretty self-aware. It was a scary situation for me having him, and I wanted to make sure I did everything right, and I was analyzing every little thing to the point of not really taking care of myself because I was trying to figure everything out.
Right.
And so in this pregnancy, what I've noticed is that I'm really just trying to be aware of what's going on and like, okay, this is the feeling, and not attach description to it, like good or bad, pain or great or whatever. Just really trying to absorb it and to recognize it. And I think that Reem and I were talking about that's a really good way to approach situations in self-care, because when you're having a child, especially with your first child, but even with a second, it goes from you being responsible for yourself into you being responsible for another life. So if you're not paying attention to the cues that your body is giving you, how are you going to be able to pay attention to the cues that your child is giving you? And
Absolutely, Elizabeth. I mean, so what I hear you say is this being your second pregnancy, that the first one, and you're very self-aware as an individual before you were even pregnant, right? Like, you're very conscious of certain things, of how your body recognizes certain things. But when a brand new element of being pregnant comes along, and different hormones, because now this baby also has hormones and a mind of its own, so it's not your control of if they're going to be shifting, if they're going to be moving, how far along they are, but to allow your body to, our brain and our body is so powerful that it knows what it needs to do to heal us, to cause relief for us. Like, we don't tell ourselves, Reem, breathe. And we say, oh yeah, I need to breathe. We don't tell our heart, hey heart, I need you to beat so that the blood goes into my vessels, that goes to my brain to allow myself to like breathe. No, it's all there. So we just need to allow ourselves to embrace when your doctor said that you're going through contractions, remind me again, you said you're how far along?
38 weeks tomorrow.
You're 38 weeks. That's beautiful. And it's a baby boy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's so beautiful. I mean, from every single mom that I've helped or spoken to in regards to, so I'm trying to get certified in hypnobirthing because I think it's so beautiful and so strong and powerful that as an individual and then as a couple between husband and wife, that you guys can connect with each other and you guys can go through things. Like when your husband's saying you didn't have contractions, like that's kind of like pretty neat that he's like, no, like he's envisioning contractions to be painful, strong, pushing out, like you're pushing out the baby. But you also bear in mind that this might be, this being your second pregnancy, that you're going through things still with your first baby with Jude and having to handle him, that maybe your body's like, hey, we're prepping. We're doing minor contractions, which are normal. Women aren't supposed to have that. Your body's, especially like if you're going from one size of your body and it's growing because you're having this baby push out, and then on the bottom part, like you were doing Kegels, or you're used to doing certain things so that you don't pee when you're walking, when you're pregnant, because you're trying to prevent certain things, but your body needs to open up. So contractions, having that and feeling it and talking to yourself. I'm a big advocate in essential oils and smells, that as well as like affirmations, speaking affirmations. So when you're going through a contraction, whether it be Braxton Hicks or contraction, or even in the delivery room, try to set yourself up with certain smells that you put close to you when you're going through a contraction, to relieve your mind from pain, to relieve your mind of, oh shit, I'm going to tense up, because when you're in pain, we tend to curdle up and say, this hurts. Oh my God, this hurts. I need this to go away, versus this hurts. Let's just let my body kind of go through it. Breathing is key, and moving along with everything. So that's so beautiful for the self-awareness, and that you actually took that in hand when you went and did the acupuncturist this week. And when she asked you, like, did this hurt? You're like, I don't know. Like, that's powerful to say, because, you probably, if you didn't think of it this way, it might have hurt you. It might have been that ailment that, she's trying to alleviate from you, that you had top of mind before, but you try to shift it. So our brains and our thoughts, and how we control our thoughts and our bodies, is a key to our success during labor and our delivery.
Well, I think about too, like anyone who has a little kid, you've watched your kid fall sometime, right? And then they look to you to see what your reaction is. And if you are like, oh no, like oh my God, you just fell. Like if the look on your face is bad, then they start crying. Right? But if the look on your face is like, you're okay, like get up, let's go, then it's kind of like no big deal, right? So our brains and what we tell ourselves and what we see around us and observe and how we interpret that can definitely play a big factor into how we react to things.
Absolutely. And it goes back to what you said earlier in the very beginning, Elizabeth. You had said that, self-care is for our better us, for not only for ourselves, but for our kids. Being self-aware for yourself and allowing yourself to know what's going on. And when you see your baby fall, it's okay that they're falling, as long as there's like, you can see that they're physically not going through the pain. You take care of them, because I mean, as a mom, that's what you want to do. You want to kiss them. You want to, oh, speaking of that. So bear in mind, in going through everything, with self-awareness and with self-empowerment comes nutrition, okay? Comes understanding what you're eating is vital for how our body is going to digest and process and grow and expand as you're having your baby and as you're growing your baby, or even after you've had your baby. Postpartum syndromes, they aren't necessarily only developed immediately after you have the baby. It's actually a component that might be so deep inside of us that we need to be okay in asking for help, in asking and talking to people so that they could support us when either you're pregnant or even after the baby is there. The statement that said it takes a village to raise a family or a child, duh, it does take multiple people to take care of it. You shouldn't feel like you're alone. That's why minimum, they always say have a partner, because it's not just there to, feel good, but you're bouncing each other's ideas. You're bouncing the idea of how you're going to raise this third person, in this world. How are they going to react? How are they going to grow? So being in the nutritional thing, going back to Elizabeth, what do you recommend? What do you suggest to help possibly with women that just had a baby postpartum, or, for self-awareness and self-empowerment?
Well, I think that your nutrition is going to be the foundation of everything that you're feeling, right?
Right.
If we are not, it's ridiculous to think that we can put bad fuel into our cars and that our cars are going to perform well, right? So that's kind of the best analogy I can give for us. And each person is going to be going through different things. So, while there's general nutritional advice I would give, it'd be custom tailored to wherever you are. Your nutritional needs for when your baby is 6 months old are going to be very different than your nutritional needs when your child is 2, right? So, but at the basis of it is that our nutrition is what fuels us and really gives us the ability to go forward. And last week, we used the analogy of if you don't secure your own oxygen, you have to secure your own oxygen mask before helping those around you, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're not taking care of yourself, your body starts breaking down. How are you going to take care of your family? So your nutrition is a number one priority. And I think that's something I see a lot with moms that, they're eating the leftovers of their child's lunch. And
you're breaking up, babe. What she's going, from what we were talking about, let's see if she comes back up. There she is. Yeah.
Yay, sorry. So, so I just kind of said something about moms eating the leftovers of their kids' lunches, right?
Yeah.
So that's like, we're feeding our kids what we think they will eat, because kids can be picky and we don't want them to be hungry. And that's not necessarily the optimal fuel for them. It's just, we're taking what we can get. So when you're going and eating that, you're not getting the best that you can. But just to remind yourself, your nutrition is so, so important. It's going to affect how much energy you have, how much, how you're sleeping at night, how many aches and pains you have in your body. So it really is. It really is. We're having fruit and vegetable gummies right now because that's what we want. So it's the basis, it's the foundation for everything else. And one thing I'm really glad about is that we are in this cusp of a wellness revolution right now, and people are really starting to see that we have gotten so far off the track of being healthy as a nation, as a country, as families, and really putting that work in to return to that and to take health back into our own hands. And Reem and I, what was that? We were discussing a video earlier. You have that video?
Actually, yeah, I want to post that. So give me one sec. I'm going to bring that up. Exactly. So it's part of our healthy revolution. So let's share screen. Share screen. All right. Play. Love it.
You know, I just get so moved.
Right.
And I watch that video because, I think about there was a time where we didn't ask, is this organic? It was just food.
Right.
What our grandparents ate and stuff like that. This is food. This is how you eat. This is how you take care of yourself. And now it's like is this genetically modified? Is this organic? Is this processed? Is this
or there's so many different colors of so many different vegetables or things out there, and you're like, how did they modify that color? How did that, they generate that color? And you're like, whoa, it's genetically modified. Is there even nutrients in it? I remember as a kid, it used to be, you needed what? 5 to 7?
It was 5 a day was the campaign, right?
5 a day, fruits and vegetables every single day. Because that's what they said would help fuel our body. Like Elizabeth said, our body is like a car, and if you're fueling it with the wrong fuel, not only is your car not going to go, but if you're only fueling it a half a tank and yet you need to go all the way to Tucson, you're not going to make it. So it's not just the quality, but it's the quantity and what you're doing. And a lot of people, I've heard a lot of women and a lot of moms and families, I eat healthy, my kids eat healthy. That's wonderful. Key component is what's healthy. Do you know all the details of how the soil, how long it's been in the grocery store, how long it's been at home? Because every single day that it's off the vine, it's depreciating in nutritional value. It's a fact, right? And every single day that it's off and not in your tummy, you're not getting that full nutrients. So if it's been giving you an analogy, it takes only 3 days from the vineyard to go and put it into the boxes and ship it out, right? And then from shipment from the vineyard to the grocery store, let's say that takes another 2 days. And then it's in the grocery store for another 2 days. That's 7 days that it's been off of the vine. That every single day it's depreciating little by little nutritional value. So by day 7, let's say your nutritional value in a banana is only 60%. You as a consumer are thinking, a banana, I'm getting the full protein, I'm getting the full nutrients that I need, potassium, not protein, on that. But you actually would probably need 2 bananas. But what does that cause? That causes it to become more expensive. That causes it to be more variables in other areas that when we grew up, we never even had to think of that. You know, an apple a day kept the doctor away. Now you need 2 apples a day to keep the doctor away. Like, you know, what is it? So,
well, and I mean, you are being extremely generous with your numbers. But I mean, the concept is there, right? And everyone can get that concept. But it is within 72 hours of being picked, over 50% of the nutritional value is gone from produce. And really what we're getting in our grocery stores is usually a minimum of 3 weeks old. Even the stuff that you're seeing that is locally grown, it still has to be picked. It has to be packaged by the farmer. It has to be shipped to the main distribution place if you're getting it at the store, right? And then it has to be taken into inventory, redistributed, and reshipped out on a truck, and then put into the grocery store. So you're really looking at a long time. One of my favorite things to do is when I go to the farmer's market is to ask them, was this picked this morning? And you'd be amazed how many times it wasn't. You know, if you're making your own juices at home and you're you know, going out and getting produce and doing that yourself, you want to make sure you drink that day. I know a lot of moms that will make juice for the whole week. Well, within 24 hours, I mean, it changes. The constitution of it changes and the nutrition of it changes. And so, you know, I just want people to be aware about that, because when we're making that effort to make purchases, to make better decisions for our families, you know, you want to get the maximum results possible. So, you know, if you're going to the farmers markets, woohoo! I mean, that's way better than the store. If you're going to the store, you know, hopefully you're choosing organic, but start asking questions, because what we ask and what we want is going to shape things. I mean, I'm constantly reading articles about Costco having more organic produce. Well, why is that? It's because people are spending money on it. We vote with our dollars. Yep. You know, consumers were saying, this is what I want. And so, you know, if you're letting the farmers markets know that you want to know when it was picked, you want to know the method that they used to grow it, I mean, that's all valuable feedback for them to let you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's just by knowing it and being aware of it, that allows you to retake that control back. And that's the beauty of everything. And I think with the healthy revolution is that you're finally going to go back to what you thought you were in control of, which is your life and who you are and what you're eating, but to be truly educated and aware of the science behind the food that you're eating and the nutrients that you're putting into your body. And I think science, you can prove it and you can see the facts right there, right then and there. Like when Elizabeth, you know, clarified that it's more than 60% depreciated within 72 hours, like that blows my mind, because I didn't think of that, you know. And if you're juicing, you're thinking, okay, well, the juice, I've had it in the fridge for 2-3 days. It's still green or it's still colorful. Like I want, also keep in mind the rainbow. When you guys are going shopping, when you guys are going and eating and trying to be healthy, don't just stick to your greens or don't just stick to what you're used to every single week. Give yourself a variety. Throw in, you know, an onion, throw in a pepper, throw in different fruits and vegetables, kiwi, you know, limes into your diet, because our body needs all those things to help, you know, function us the right way so that when you're going through labor and delivery, when you're going through those contractions, you've given yourself the right tools in your belt to go through everything, right, Elizabeth?
Right. And I don't want to, definitely don't want to discourage anyone, whether you're going through labor and delivery or you're running your kids around to the soccer field, or maybe you don't even have kids yet, you're just getting through the day. I don't want to discourage anyone from eating stuff, but I think what Reem and I are saying is that is why, not Reem, no. That is why you need more. Why it used to be 5 a day and now it's 9 to 13 is because the same stuff is not in there. And it kills me. Like, it really kills me when I see people going through all of this effort and not getting the results that they want out of it. You want to say hi?
Totally. I mean, my biggest reason in joining the Healthy Revolution and being proud that I'm finally, okay, guys, there's so many things out there on the internet, through our friends, through different, if you go to the grocery store, go to Sprouts, everything healthy, organic, nutritious, this and that. But what's the truth? Like, what do you need to know? And the fact of the matter is, you need more fruits and vegetables in your body. You need it to be grown and put in the supply for you to digest it within a period where the nutritional value is not depreciated before it's either juiced or dehydrated or put into a capsule or however, you're taking it. But it's just awesome to know that, Elizabeth and I are partnered with an amazing, company that is really created from over, 30 years ago, and now is in 27 countries. So it's not just a U.S., company where we're only helping families and people in the United States, but it's all over the world and all over Europe, Australia, London. They know how important our nutritional value is. How is it that cancers and diseases have gone up, yet our nutritional food and what's in the grocery store and the way that they process foods, everything's gone down? That correlation.
You ever thought about like our food is fortified. So why are people having to take vitamins as well, right? Our foods are being fortified. You read the back of it, it has added iron, it has added folic acid, folic acid has been added to most processed foods that have flour in it to curb the incidence of spinal bifida. And yet women are still encouraged to take prenatal vitamins and folic acid. Why is this? Because we don't really have a vitamin deficiency. We have a whole food deficiency in this country. And that's how our food is being made. And other countries have kind of banned some of the things that we still allow to happen here. We are one of the wealthiest countries in the world, and we are one of the sickest countries in the world. And and some of that, I think people just don't have awareness. We've become way too trusting that someone else is looking out for our best interests, like a parent, and that they are making sure that everything's been tested. I hear time and time again, why would this vitamin be on the shelf if it wasn't okay for me or my child? Well, the supplement industry is $1 billion industry that's regulated on the honor system. Regulated on the honor system. It's like me putting a bunch of stuff in a little jar and then giving it to you and saying, this will make everything in your body better. Just trust me.
Yeah.
That's what's happening every single day on the shelves of the grocery store.
Yeah.
Right? So you want to start asking questions. You want to start asking for research. You want to start looking for science. There's a difference between science that's actually been done on a specific product or item versus borrowed research. I can go ahead and say, science shows that blueberries are very good for you, and there are blueberries in this juice, therefore this juice is good for you. That's not science. That's not research, right? Research would be saying, we have taken this blueberry juice and we have put it through tests, and we are going to show you that this is what this blueberry juice contains.
Totally.
And we did it double blind, placebo controlled, in a laboratory with strict procedures around it. Like, that's the best kind of science you can get. I love listening to it. Dr. Sears is one of my favorite people to listen to talk about science when you're putting stuff in your body and in your children's body. So anyways, I could go on. And Reem and I will get a chance to talk to you guys more about this as we develop and expand these conversations.
You guys, since you're on the video and either you're in a replay or you're live with us today, thank you guys so much for joining us. In this topic alone, if you guys want to know more information of what's out there, what different things that we're trying to get into to help educate, support, nurture our community as well as yours, message us, comment on the board, blast it out to everyone so that we can all reply to it. I mean, our goal is to create a community of awareness, and that's why we really wanted to start today in starting as individuals of having that self-awareness, of having that self-empowerment, because it really starts, I mean, my philosophy is in being a postpartum doula and really trying to grow my business, Doula Dear, here in San Diego, as well as in Tucson. I really want to support and nurture a woman in loving and truly loving and understanding who she is as a woman, then as a mother to take care of her baby, and then to her partner to nurture and be understanding and communication. Communication is key, guys, for every relationship in the world. Like for me and Elizabeth, we have to talk. If we don't talk, we wouldn't know what we need to talk about for today's, meeting. We wouldn't know how we can touch more people. And communication, if you guys are trying to build, a home for your little new one, or it's been your second, third, or even fourth kid, it doesn't really matter how far along you are in the chain, or if you're not even in the chain of, even having babies yet, but you just want to start with yourself to even find the right partner, to be with the right partner. And yeah, we're just trying to give you guys little tips and tools. And that's, really my philosophy is empowering that and honing in on it, focusing on nutrition because that's key, self-love, and then spirituality. And then having, Elizabeth as a huge backbone for me and for, empowering holistically for us as a community, for nutrition, and just as also a woman and a mom that's a realist, that's, that's who we are. We just want to be ourselves, and we want your guys' feedback to share what we can do. We're thinking of creating an online survey to ask you guys, what topics do you guys want to know about? What are things, we get a lot of messages privately for different questions that are top of mind, but please go ahead and share it on the board. Share it on the Facebook page so that way we can kind of participate. Like last night I sent out a message asking everyone, what's a good dinner or something to eat that has no dairy? Because I'm trying to take out dairy from my diet and offering it to other moms as well. And then, level, what is it? What's another one that we were thinking about? Can you think?
Well, we were just, we've talked about so much stuff, Reem. I can't just say one thing, but just that a lot of the moms, a lot of people have been unsure about stuff. And so we want you to share about your victories around your family's health and things that are going on in your lives. We also want you to share about your struggles, because that's how we're going to learn and help each other. And, that's the way that we move forward in this world. We really, with social media, with technology, with all of the things that are out there, we have become less personal, right? People would prefer that you text them over call them and have a conversation with them. We've become busy. So that connection, that is such a valuable tool, not only for our mental and spiritual things, but it affects us physically. I mean, hugging people affects your body. It changes things. So we want to be connected. We want to interact more. We want to learn from each other. We want to come together as a community, and that's part of taking healthy back and getting back to the basics, you know?
Yeah.
So we love you guys. We encourage and we will support you to be as involved in this as you want to be, and reach out and just know that every day we cast a ripple on the rest of the world by our actions and what we do. And it's up to you how big of a ripple you're going to cast. But no matter what, you're casting a ripple out there. So just know who you are makes a difference.
Yeah.
Who you are influences other people. You know, be you, shine bright. Yeah. And we love you guys, and we'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely, guys. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and have a wonderful week. Can't wait to talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.